Hey everybody, so we are back and I had a little bit of a struggle. I jumped on the struggle bus there for a minute. We are back to finish up, sew in our signatures. And this is where I struggle the worst. This is the worst for me. Absolute worst. Because I don't do math. And this really does require you to put on your thinking brain if you want to make it, exactly right and all that good stuff. So, here is my first struggle. Trying to make a template. But I abandoned it because I got frustrated with it. And I nixed that video and we're starting again. So, let me rewind for you. We are making a template to sew our signatures in here. And so I have a piece of folder. I have cut it down to size that fits in the journal perfectly. It doesn't pinch when I go up, and it's even down here and up here. So this is our spine essentially. We can even kind of check it. This is a checking method, but it doesn't really tell you because this is where the book is folded. So it's going to be smaller than what shows on the outside. So the best way to check it is in here, and it folds without crinkling. So we made us a template. We tried to make it even, and we struggled with it, and so we abandoned that idea, and now we're back. So always label your top of your template. And I think I even struggled with it here. I think we're going to do a 5 stitch. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, the problem is that I had my lines here, and you know what? I wonder if I can just carry this over. Oh, Shell, why do you do this? So this one is correct. And we'll go right here. In our center. That's what we're going with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have our lines already drawn for our signatures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, what I want to do is I want my holes right here on these lines. So I'm marking me a little hole. Now, I use this. It's a Big Bite, Crocodile Big Bite. And I only use it for my spine. My signatures, I hand poke. Mainly because of the way signatures fold, and they pinch, and so you have to get your hole right at that fold. And if you don't, then it lines your holes up crooked. So I'm just taping this down so it won't move, basically. And I don't normally do this tape, but since I've got a fabric cover, I will. Normally I just clip it at the top and at the bottom, but we taped this time. So I'm gonna go in here and line up my bite with where I drew those little dots. And this guy bites all the way through all that extra cardboard and the book spine and the tape that we use to strengthen it. And sorry y'all are having to look at my ugly arm. So we've poked 5 holes across. They've gone all the way through. We'll just keep going down. Again, I normally do a 3-hole stitch because I've done a couple of 5 holes and they confuse me. I overthink them. So I probably should have watched a little tutorial before I jumped on here, but maybe it'll come to me. Hopefully it'll come to me. If not, you guys will get to see me struggle for a bit, and I may abandon ship and have to watch a tutorial because it's been a while since I've done a 5-hole. But I think as big as this journal is, and this is a workout, as thick as this journal is, as big as this journal is, I think it's probably best that we do a 5-hole to make sure we're all nice and secure in there. Okay, 3 rows done. Moving on to the last 2. Last row. Again, this is a bit of a workout. Whew. Junk journaling is not made for the weak. Or something like that. Last one. Good deal. Okay. This guy out of the way. All our little confetti's out of the way. Yeah, I thought he had some floating around here. Okay. Goodness, that was a workout. Okay, so now we have all of our holes punched. And And just clean up our little template. Now, oh goodness, that wore me out a little bit. Wore me out. Okay, so let's just clean off a little bit of our stuff here. And I think I'm gonna pull up my chair. Sorry, I'm worn out. That was a workout. More of a workout than I expected it to be. Okay, here we go. Here goes nothing. Our holes are all poked. We got our needle, we got our thread, we got our poker. Now, we have our 5 signatures. I always start at the back. And one thing I always do is find my center and tap us down. And then clamp us closed. Now this one, all the pages are the same length. They're not all the same width, but they're all the same length. So I don't have to worry about if I've got a smaller page that I need to adjust to the middle or anything like that. Let's set you aside for a minute. Take my template. And technically it should line up pretty even. It may go over just a little bit because my pages aren't exactly the same size as my cover. So just kind of want to line it up fairly even. I'm going to scoot it over just a hair. And then I'm going to mark where my holes need to go. And then using my awl, I fold and then poke at an angle. Not really at an angle, I poke straight. But here's what I'm talking about when, if I use the gator bite to punch, I have to straighten my book out and see where the propensity to get your lines, your holes lined wrong, because you have such a gap. But if you fold and poke like this, chances of them lining up fairly even are higher chance. Not always, but higher chance. So I usually find my hole, kind of like I'm doing it in secret. I close it up and cover it up and poke all the way through. Find my hole, poke all the way through. And I've got my pages clamped together so they don't shift on me, because that's what they like to do. Now, I'm going to test this to my holes. And I line up pretty good, pretty good. So, my next signature, so this is my last signature. This is my 4th signature. Let me find my center. Make sure all my pages are aligned. Tap us down. And I want to clamp us. I may have to do this in shifts because I don't have enough big clips handy, I don't think, to get us all. Now, instead of using my template, I tend to use my previous, because I can line line my pages up instead of trying to, because you know I have to line my template up and it kind of goes over a little bit. This way my pages are lined up. I avoid taking the risk of not getting my template exactly where I got it on the last. So I line my pages up and then figure out where my holes need to go. Oh, here I go, writing in the journal. And that's not correct, so gotta remember that. Let's see here, let me make sure I get these correct. Okay, so we'll set number 5 aside. And we'll poke number 4 all the way through. All the way through. All the way through. All the way through. And all the way through. Now this should line up with this. And we do. So, carrying on. Here is number 3. This is kind of a thinner one, so maybe I can use some smaller clips. I'll just use a couple of them. Some people think it's harder to sew in your signatures when you have all your ephemera in them, you know, because they're pretty packed with pockets and tags and things like that. And I mean, I guess it kind of can, just depends on what you have. If you have a bunch of cards that are sliding around inside, then yeah, you're gonna struggle a little bit. But if everything's in its place and place for everything and all that good stuff, then it's not really that much of a challenge, more of a challenge. I find the biggest challenge for me when it comes to dealing with signatures and all that is if I've got a dangle already attached to my spine, which sometimes, most of the times I do, because I put my dangle on and kind of sew it into secure it into under here or however, so I have it on there before my book is made, basically. And sometimes dealing with that dangle, it gets all up in the way when you're trying to sew. Sometimes. This middle poke was kind of tough for some reason. It's just kind of concerning to me as I sit here and talk about ephemera getting in the way. I hope I didn't poke through some ephemera. I'll have to remember that, to look through that when we unclip it. So 5, line it up to our other one. We're pretty on point. Moving into the second signature now. Okay. I might have enough to get us through. Yep. Okay. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I try to clip us opposites. Something shifted back there. Oh, okay. was like, something shifted. It was just a tag. See, I just talked about how the ephemera doesn't get in my way, and it's done nothing but get in the way since I said that. Anyways, what I was saying is I try to clip opposite ends just, again, to help me hold, and I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why I do the things I do. One thing you do want to pay attention to when you're poking holes and sewing in signatures and all that is that you've got all your pages going the right way. Sometimes in the bouncing around of our signatures, and especially if they look alike, or if the outside looks alike and it doesn't have an image that's obviously right side up, it's easy to get them flipped upside down. And then before you know it, you have sewn in your signatures upside down. And that's not a good thing. I did that with my Raggedy Ann one, I think. And I had to back up and regroup and unsew, and it was not a problem, but it was a bit of a time waster and a bit of a frustration, and also a bit of a wear and tear on my signature holes. I don't know why I did this 5 holes. I mean, I know why, but I think it's going to cause me problem. Y'all are going to get to see me struggle, because I'm trying to brain on how to how that's sewn. I know the 3-hole stitch. I know it pretty easily. I could probably do it in my sleep. The 5 one, though, I've only done once or twice, and I know it's a lot like the 3-hole, but still. Ooh, that one I can barely see. In the home stretch of this bad boy. I really enjoyed this journal. I feel like I was able to really get in my flow with it. It was a bit of a challenge for me in my brain to be very willy-nilly with the animals. You know, I may have had a deer and a bear on the same page, or a fish and a bird on the same page. It just kind of, that's not normal to me. So it was a bit of a challenge to be willy-nilly and not try to organize the animals, I guess. It was a bit of a challenge, but we did it. So now we are going to pull our threads. So we have 5 signatures, and I usually do 3 times the length. I think that's pretty typical. 1, 2, 3. And go ahead and cut all my threads so I don't have any issues, and I've got them all right there handy. I'm using embroidery thread. There we go. Try that again. 1, 2, 3. I don't think it has to be any more than 3 times the length when you're doing 5 stitch. I don't recall anything like that. Why do you keep tangling up here? How many do I got? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's 4. 1, 2. 3. Okay. So we should have 5 strings. 3, 4, 5. We do. Okay, let me brain a minute here. I think I'm going to try this. I think I'm going to, before I start fighting with signatures, big thick signatures, well, I was going to try this, but my string got knotted up again. Oig. There it goes. Lord. Okay, let me do maybe do a sample string. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll, bear with me. I think I'm doing a practice run. Oig. I'm struggling with the practice run. Okay, let's try this again. Come on, what's the deal? Okay, now, if we do in through here and up through there. And then we go up to here. So we go in, maybe I should take notes. In here first, in through the bottom, back through the fourth, and then into the second, and we come, I don't know if that's what I wanted to do or not. Again, I'm practicing here because I didn't refresher course myself. So that carries those two. And then we go in through that one. You're probably screaming at me. So in through this one, back through that one, in through this one, back through this one, So then we'll go in through the middle and then down and then back up. Nope, because I need to end up at the same spot. Although I could just tie it there and call it done, but that's technically not how that's done. So that's not how we do it. Oh, again, I'm probably going to have to. It looks good on the outside. Plus I sewed through my thread. Okay, this is just a big cluster. So take our needle out. Pull this out. Okay. Let's see if we can try this one more time. If we don't get it this time, then we will call it done and go watch a video and learn a little bit. And then we'll be back with it. So, if we go out here and in here, and in here, and in here, we'll cross over the middle, go in here, in here, in here. Did I overthink that? I overthought it, because we'll end up here. And we'll tie there and we'll be okay. Now I don't know what I just did, but it felt pretty easy. So we're gonna go with it. See what happens with it. Let me see where I'm at on my time. Oh, we may not get them all sewn in, but we'll get them started. Again, junk journaling's not for the weak. That's gonna be my new slogan. Okay, I always start with the back, the last signature. I'm not quite sure why. That's just how I was taught. And it seemed to make the most sense to me. So, stop talking, Shell, and do this right. In the middle, we'll hang on to our tail. In the second one, in the last one, in the second one again. Try not to pierce our thread, because that causes all sorts of problems. Okay. And then up. If I can find it, there we go. Come on. And I don't know why, but every time I do a journal, this is the top hole I struggle with. every time. I don't know why. I don't know if it's, I don't know. I struggle with it every time though. Go back through here. Careful not to pierce our thread. And then back through the center. Come on. Where are you at? You want to go on the other side and pulling you up. Oh, goodness. So we want to make sure we're tight. We're tight on all of our ends here. I'm going to pull this tight. I'm going to tie us tight. I usually do 3 ties. I'm going to leave the strings dangling for now. Pull our clips out and see what we did. We did it. We did it. Goodness. So, I'm going to go ahead and do that some more. That was not as awful as I thought it was going to be. And I probably am doing that 5-hole stitch wrong, but it's going to work. Because we are in there. Make sure I didn't poke through any of my ephemeras. Nope. We are good to go. Good deal. So I'll continue on, get them all sewed in. And then I think I am going to not do any sort of a dangle. I'm going to do, oh, I can do that real quick while you're on here. Well, that was not good. I think what I've decided to do for my tie is, oh, that's scissors. I probably don't need to have those on the ground because my big feet will step on them. Okay, what I decided to do for the tie is I've got some hem facing, seam binding, something or another. It's brown, but it kind of has a little shine to it, so I'm kind of banking on it as the gold, per se. I'm going to cut us a hole. I'm eyeballing it. And I'm making sure I'm not poking into my ephemera. And so we have a hole. Hang on, I've lost an eyelet. Okay, I can't be doing that. And I'm gonna usually I do this before I get my signatures in, so I know kind of where the back hole needs to go. So we're gonna have to eyeball that as well. I could probably measure it, but you know me. So we have our hole, and we are going to poke our eyelets in. And I'm going to thread my hem facing or binding or whatever stuff through this and make us a tie for a closure. I wasn't going to do a closure, but since I am kind of gator mouthed, I decided I needed a tie. So now what I'm gonna do is, I don't know how long this is, but cut it in half. And then I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to loop it through. Ties are going to be really long. We'll see. I'm going to tuck these in real quick. Now it's going to be kind of wonky because my clips are still on it, but just kind of give you an idea. Now, I will probably trim these, and I may possibly add a bead or two. I don't know, but that's how we did the tie. I know I did that really quick, but that's kind of how the best way I've figured out how to do a tie is to just do these eyelet holes and loop some string or ribbon through and tie us a knot, and we have a tie. That is the best way I have figured out. So there you have it. I'm gonna call this done. Again, I'm gonna probably pile up on my couch and sew the rest of these in. And then we'll be done. Yeah, so there you have it. Thanks for joining me. If you made it this far, if you followed along all the way through, front to back, cover to cover, start to finish, if you have followed along, I appreciate it. I hope you learned something, maybe. Maybe even if you learn what not to do. I have this as well. So that is a bit of a squirrel. Stop. Yeah, so there you have it. I'll finish sewing these signatures in, and then we'll be done because our cover's done. Our signatures are all done. We've got it signed and ready to go. And so, yeah, that's where we've got. I'll still decide if I want to do an actual flip through or not. So, yeah, we'll decide and go from there. So, anyways, thanks for joining me, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed making this, and I've enjoyed having you along for the journey. So thank you. Yeah, that's all I got. So bye for now.